Alright everybody, welcome in. This is going to be a semi-final match in the Aureil Stormgate circuit, weekly number 2. And starring in the blue, playing Infernal, this is Wallace. Boop. There we go. And his opponent, playing the red Infernal today, this is Senegalo Ruskov. More Infernal versus Infernal action today. And that's partly due to the fact that in the current patch, Infernals are the best. Hard to deny that there are some imbalance, let's call it, issues in some of the matchups right now. So that means we have got an Infernal versus Infernal semis here. And we might even end up with an Infernal versus Infernal final. We will find out because we don't know what's going to come out that other bracket. But coming out of this bracket is going to be either Wallace, aka Alpha Storm, or Senegalo Ruskov. And Wallace creeping pretty standard here. 2 and 2. And we saw here with the third vault going down, and Senegalo with the slower shrine, but not quite as slow as we saw last game, which was a win. Got another imp coming out. What's this going to be for? I'm just trying to study these folks' build. They have slightly different builds, and it's curious to see why they're doing it. And remember, early on in a meta like this, they haven't really been solved. No one's posted a guide that says, you know, this is the most efficient way to get your 6 brutes and 4 gaunts out by, you know, 4 minutes and 12 seconds or whatever it is. So everyone's still, I don't want to say it's like just winging it or playing by intuition alone. Some of these pros might be, but there's a lot of still trying little variations on your build. So you might be like, well, what if I put my farm a little later? What if I send the next imp out of the shrine instead of the first one to go build the whatever? You know, what if I build my vault closer first and then the second one further? You know, little things like that to change up your build. And then of course, these builds are also going to be dependent on the map you're on. So right now we're on Secluded, and Secluded has this very interesting creeping pattern over here. We see this imp, so this imp had to be sent to turn into a farm to make this work. And so, you know, that's long-standing though. This map has for quite a long time, this has been a strategy. But again, how do you change that strategy up? Add little variations given the current patch. Now, one difference between these two right now, we see Senegalo grabbing both those camps. Well, Wallace only grabbed one because he didn't send a lumber imp over here to chop down L trees, and instead is chilling back here with only with one less camp. That's just going to be a slight trickle of extra money for Senegalo, and I mean, not only from the initial creeps, but also from this ongoing trickle. And what do we see here? Ooh, I like how Wallace is saying, well, what I'm going to do then is send some fiends. Oh, but wait a second. There's a farm up here. These fiends could probably take that farm out. I don't actually know. I haven't tried that, but I think those fiends can take the farm out. And look, Senegalo's like, you're not going to go for your Ethereum? Oh, don't worry then. I got it. No worries, bro. And yeah, I think those fiends, I don't know, but fiends are pretty good at taking down buildings, even just 2 of them. So I wonder. But Wallace decides I'm not going to go for those towers because the farm is doing its job, which is protecting those towers. And Senegalo is aggressive. Supplies are dead even, but Senegalo has only 2 bases, so it's possible his army supply is a little larger. But I think Wallace has just done a great job of putting a little defensive matrix, little Sim City on this side. And it's charge brutes up for both sides. Any Reaper's Rush. So I'm really curious about what the timing on Reaper's Rush is, if at all, these days, because it seems like priority is to get Infernal Fury. You see the Hellport. I don't even see... Yeah, there's not even a Ritual Chamber out for either of them. So maybe in this meta you just don't go Ritual Chamber, and maybe until tier 3, maybe not at all, I don't know. I feel like when tier 3 pops out, you're almost like, I want another Hellforge, not a Ritual Chamber. At least that's what it was in the good old days. This effigy's been up for a while. And that is Senegalo's effigy, which means it's a scout effigy. And here comes Wallace. He's got 20 more supply. He's definitely done a better job on the macro in this early game. Senegalo's been slower behind. Still only, okay, up to 8 imps here, but this is a fully saturated base now for Wallace. And now Wallace is moving out for the middle of the map, taking the vision tower, which usually signifies aggression. And we watch as Senegalo here tries to move in a position to battle. Little posturing, they're not sure where they want to fight. Neither of them really want to fight not on Shroud. Okay. Wallace says, let's do that friendly pure creeping thing again. He's got one Weaver, so he lashes in one of the Shadow Demons, which makes it easy for him to take it out. It's fun little back and forth here. Finally they commit. They go in, a huge Nightfall Infestation goes down on Senegalo's units. So much curse across these units here, but a nice concave from Wallace as he curves around the bottom there. He's going to be tearing through these brutes, but that's also when a ton of reinforcements show up for Senegalo, and now the concave is starting to look like it's in Senegalo's favor. And Gaunt's behind there doing a great job. Reinforcements arriving on the bottom here also for Wallace. This is a toe-to-toe even battle for both these teams, but it looks like Senegalo is coming out on top. Wow. Wallace going in with the supply lead, but Senegalo pushing him back. Wallace still with the supply lead, able to remax quickly. I've seen him do that in other matches where he'll come up with a really strong army and in a battle kind of trade evenly, or maybe not even evenly, but somehow be able to remain on top with supply as he just uses a ton of charges to pump out more units and remax back. He's back to 50 above. So Senegalo had a really good battle there. I really like that engage. It looked like Wallace had it for a moment, but then the reinforcements of Senegalo showed up and started turning the tides. Those trees have been knocked down. A few brutes can be caught out here, but no, they're going to regroup. Weavers being added by Senegalo a lot. I'm not so sure about that. I mean, maybe that's... What's that for? Maybe for the other Weavers. Maybe for that. There's one Hellborn over there for Wallace. Both of them going for Shadow Flyers. Neither of them have a dragon yet. There is this Harbinger. It's got something in it. What's it got? Brutes. Brutes. There's a mag out now. Wallace is making some aggressive posturing again, taking out some effigies, moving forward, gets a lash in on a Weaver. Nightfall Infestation grabs a few of the front brutes, but not as many as you'd hope for. Lash is going both directions here. Hellborn in the back for Wallace. A lot of brutes for both sides just running back and forth doing that hokey pokey dance. And the front line's just churning into each other. Lash is going down from Senegalo. I think the extra Weavers have sort of been helpful for him. And it's Wallace who turns back first. Still with the supply lead though. Another Hellborn going down as we hear that death cry. And Wallace starting to fight again. I think this is the right time to do so. And again, Wallace having that better macro, I think. Able to remax quicker. Able to bring more brutes into this battle that's... Well, it's ended now for a moment. And again, still coming out ahead. 30 supply. Maybe gaining an extra 10 supply lead there. Slowly chipping away. Now, okay. I love that. Shroud Stone Battle. Although one of these is Manifest, which means higher DPS. Fiend showing up. And this base is going to be taken out. So, this is a good move. Oh, but teleporting in with some brutes. That's clever, but unfortunately too late to save it. Because Fiends are really good at that kind of snipe. Ooh, dragon out here for Senegalo. Don't see one yet for Wallace. But Wallace does have, what's that, 7 Hellborn, and that's pretty dangerous against that dragon. Gotta keep the dragon back in a safe position. Wallace finds an imp and murders it. There's another imp. Murder the imp. Shroudfall goes down. This is actually good positioning for Senegalo, but I don't know if he's got the army he needs. There is a dragon above, and remember, dragons do a ton of extra help in this kind of battle. They're going to be spawning so many extra phantoms, doing their extra damage. But the dragon has to pull back. Did it die? No, it just pulls back. And what a churn again. Brute versus brute churn. It's hard to see. The Shroudfall ends. Effigy goes down. But this is starting to look like this is Wallace's battle. Even though he had not the best positioning here, the Concave is turning in his favor, and he's wrapping around these units. They get forced back. Senegalo in retreat. And Wallace, no dragon, but 7 Hellborn, pushing forward. That dragon's still there? Yes, he is. And boom! Into the main. Manifest Shroud Stone. Hellborn's going right for the dragon. I don't like this. The Hellborn are too far forward. Lash is going down on Hellborn. There's still a lot of units, though, from Wallace. He's got a lot of brutes here. Hellborns are still getting that good damage, and I wonder if the Hellborns have been the difference here. Is he going to be able to push through and make this work, or is this going to be a hold for Senegalo? It's kind of looking like it might be a hold for Senegalo, even though imps have turned to fight there in the imp line. We can hear them, and yes, it's a hold for Senegalo. Alpha Storm, Wallace pushed back, and they're at even supply now. Wallace may have overcommitted there and is starting to sacrifice the supply lead, although now Senegalo pushing out into the open area. Started pushing into a battle that was in Wallace's favor again. And this is, wow, what a great first game here between these two. Definitely equal in terms of their skill so far in this match. Wow, oh, we got more Fiends going down here, but another Manifest. The Manifests have a high DPS. And they clean up the Fiends. Senegalo's like, I really want to get that base down. This is a nice try and push out there. Trying to get some of these units out of position. Not certain what all these imps on the map are. I like it. What are you doing, impies? They meant to flame on and they just forgot what the command was. Magmadon going down the center. Looking to see, is there base? No base, but that means that an imp can go and plant a base there now if Senegalo wishes. What are you doing? Heading for the health camp. But this, using your whole army to take out a health camp that's a little out of position in the late game like this is often dangerous. So that means your army's going to be a little out of position. You might lose a base for it. But no cost to Senegalo so far, as Wallace looks like he's looking to be aggressive again. The difference is the last 2 times he did this. Oh, yes, Senegalo's going for the flank. Oh, Wallace, you got to be careful here. Oh, and the flank's coming down. We got units on both sides. It's not a perfect flank, but it's looking really good for Senegalo. And Wallace is just doing his best. He's going toe-to-toe here. He's hoping that this is going to work out for him. But again, the concave is in Senegalo's favor. Look at the top there as the brutes are curving around. I think this is it. Wallace is going to lose this battle. Senegalo comes out on top with that sweet split of his army. And that's a huge win. Now 100 supply lead. That was the turn of the game. And Alpha Storm Wallace GG's out. Welcome into game number 2, everybody. This is Senegalo Ruskov in the blue. Rocking the Infernos. The best faction. No one can deny it. The greatest of all factions in 0.4.2. And his opponent, Wallace, the AI Alpha Storm, created by Google in a lab in Silicon Valley, and now unleashed upon the world with his Stormgate magnificence. And look at this magnificence. Wallace is like, you will not get game number 2 because I'm going all out aggression. That is 3 vaults and a conclave proxy. This is kind of a proxy on Broken Crown here. I mentioned it before, but we got a little rush distance here. Zoot! Right into the base. But is Senegalo just going shrine first and not going to be prepared for this? Nah. Senegalo has got his own production builds, hasn't even made a shrine yet. Will have units out, already has units out working on this speed camp. And likewise for Wallace over here. First brutes out, first gaunts out. And going for the speed camp. So the real question is, what's going to be the result of this? We have a few extra brutes out for Wallace. But yes, Wallace is planning to go for this speed camp. That's normal, but no, he turns around. Oh, he changes his mind. He says, I'm going to go take the speed camp. I don't know if Phantom's going to live long enough to take the speed camp. Ah! It did it. And instead he's like, I'm just going in your base. I'm going straight in your base. Look at that imp down already. Fellhog's out here. Wasted DPS on Fellhogs. And now, ooh, gets a gaunt, gets a brute. That's already good, big victory there for Wallace. And Senegalo's trying to get into the defensive position here. And now it is brutes. Oh, a bunch of extra gaunts just popped out. Tries to keep them alive by pulling them back and doing a good job of positioning so far. And Wallace just hoping to get some damage down. Finds another imp. And starts putting some damage down on the shrine. I don't know if that's what you want to do. Go for the farm. Go for the vault. Or go for the army like we're seeing here. Some of his units pulled back. I think that was a misclick, but still doing a pretty good job with this aggression. I don't know if this is going to win. Looking at the numbers right now, it kind of looks like Senegalo has what he needs to defend. But we still keep seeing units trickle in from Wallace. And it's really hard to keep an eye on the numbers here. It's starting to look like it's going to be in Wallace's favor for a second here. But more reinforcements showing up from the high ground from Senegalo. And this shrine could go down. It's down past a quarter life. And Senegalo just trying to keep Wallace off the shrine by going back and forth with the stutter step. But he doesn't have enough units to fully engage. And that shrine goes down. And that's bad news for Senegalo. Needed to hold here. Has put down another vault behind this, which is good because that's allowing him to keep the army production up. Now, Wallace, you can't. I don't think you can just pull back from this. You did get the shrine kill, but I think you need to put the pressure on. Wallace has not put a shrine down himself. Oh, going for the Luminite Tower? It's a very interesting strategy. This is like, will supplement the income by not having a shrine. But what happened there? How come it didn't get captured? I was curious. It didn't... Oh. What? That's just a bug. My bad. I'm wigging out on the bug. Oh no. Senegalo. Oh, Wallace, you were supposed to go in for the kill, buddy. Now it's Senegalo who's like, I'm going to come get you. Oh no. This doesn't even look good for... Okay. Wallace doesn't want to fight in that choke there. Yeah, get out. Get through. Push through. Push through, Wallace. Push through. Oh, yes. There we go. There we go. And GG from Senegalo. Welcome into game number 3. This one's on Lost Hope, and this is Wallace. And his opponent, Senegalo Ruskov. Look at all that zoom action. Sorry if that gave you a bit of a headache. Boom, farm going down out here. There's some art to figuring out where am I putting that farm, knowing that I need to put a shrine somewhere. It's just, you know, I'm pretty sure folks like Senegalo and Wallace know exactly where to put it. But he's putting his vault. This is, we've seen this from Senegalo for a couple games, and you know, it's well practiced. This is what I was talking about. There being these little finicky oh, pop it, pop it, pop. Oh, okay. These little differences in your build, and early on in these metas, you know, no one's come out and been like, oh, you still do farm vault? Oh, that's not right. You should be doing effigy, double effigy. Everyone knows that. But that's not been decided yet. And with that said, that doesn't always settle down to that and be like there's only one way to play. There's there can be multiple viable builds. And certainly in these IVIs we've been watching in the last couple series, that's been true. We've seen multiple viable builds. We've seen different versions of success. Like last game, we saw that really strange aggressive build win. No! Oh, Gaunt's going down to creeps. We don't like to see that. Now, Brute's going down to creeps. We don't mind that because they turn into fiends, and fiends are kind of good. Fiends are kind of good. And we are on Lost Hope. We are watching some Infernals play, so you know what that means. They're just going to run around the map, creeping and creeping and creeping. Creepity, creepity, creep. Because why not? When you have a force that can take out these units pretty easily, you get free units from it. You get all the boosties and bennies. It's good. And okay, Senegalo now moving in the middle, being like, I'm going to take this vision camp, because the vision camp is the one that's really kind of worth fighting over, especially when you're cross-spawned like these two are, because it's just going to give you all that advanced warning. And now Senegalo. Now, what we're going to see is a little bit of who's got that better army control to send units out and capture camps while they're still creeping. Who's got, you know, that better strategy of picking which camps to go for. See these little fiend battles? And battling over the vision camp, like I mentioned. This is critical. And so far it's been Senegalo that has more of the map control. And that, you know, that can make difference, but it doesn't mean everything, right? You can certainly have a strong game by being a little more passive. It's just in Stormgate you often pay a little bit more of a price for that because of creeping. And then Lost Hope is the map where it's like, well, if you're a little too passive, now your opponent can go and get like 15 different camps, and that's going to be too much for you to overcome in terms of advantage. But here we got a little battle. Senegalo says buzz off, and Wallace says all right. Senegalo's going to steal his Therium camp. Oh, and here comes a lumber in. And oh yeah, like that's a very narrow passageway. Aren't you going to chop it down a little bit more? Now, oh, okay. I was like, why is he walking by? Well, there was no shroud yet, so didn't necessarily see the shroud. And what do we got here? Meat farm. Interesting choice. I thought it might be a shroud stone, but we got a meat farm over here. And Wallace knows this is coming around to try and defend his main. We have an effigy pop for Senegalo. It gets taken out right away. And Senegalo just marching away like... No, oh no. What are you doing? That didn't look great. I thought he might try and, like... He's trying to fight with a good split here. Maybe trying to catch these units. I'm not sure why he's posturing and not just running away. But this is pretty good for Senegalo. Actually, it looks like it's almost even for them, but Senegalo maybe has a little bit better. Oh, he pushes through with his brutes on top of the gaunts. This is definitely turning in his favor. On top of the Hellborn in the back here, there's not much left for Wallace to defend with. He's going to pull back, trying to preserve those Hellborn, but can he really? Brutes turn to fight. One of the Hellborns goes down. Another one goes down. Meg jumps out, but dies almost immediately. Another Meg pops out. Also is going to get focus fired down, and Senegalo just has too much here. Even with the Manifest Shroudstone here, these units are going to tear through this defensive force. Imp's starting to go down now, and GG from Wallace. Welcome in, my peaceful listeners. We're on the beach today, but it is still going to be a battle to the death between these two. This is Senegalo Ruskov and his opponent using the red beach towel today. It is Wallace. Can't wait until we have 1,000 different skins, and so when you play on Isle of Dread, all your imps can have their swim trunks on and a nice visor to block their eyes from the sun. Make sure everyone's got their sunscreen. And beach balls for the Hellborn. Okay, maybe not. That sounds kind of awful. Kind of awful to me. But also kind of fun. We are on another big map, so we might see... We have the potential for some macro. Last map, not so much. Let's see what they're going to do with Isle of Dread here. Now, we did see on Lost Hope there was a lot of creeping going on. We're probably going to see a lot of creeping because that's also usually the style of play to open up on Isle of Dread. You clear your camps on your side of the map, before moving out. And it doesn't look like either of these two are playing a particularly aggressive build. Both of them putting down shrines. But neither of them going like super aggressive, going for the double Luminite early. That's a play that you often see. Although we do have an imp already going for the double Luminite here for Wallace. So maybe Wallace is planning to be more, you know, eco this game. And in the past, you know, that's worked for him. I do think one of Wallace's strengths is his macro game. He can macro up really well and have that supply lead and sort of chip away with it. I think it was game 1 where he did that. Although actually I think Senegalo was the one who ended up winning that. At this stage of the afternoon, it starts to all blur together for me. But like I sort of mentioned, they are opening with this creeping style. So we see that Senegalo's creeped out everything on his side. Where's he going? Therium next. Notice they're kind of avoiding the energy camp. The energy camp for Infernals is almost a null camp. Like it has no benefit. But the mobs there, the slimes, do give Therium. So especially in the early game, it can be useful to take it to get a little Therium kick if you have a build that is either like super tight, so you're trying to not have imps on Therium, or you need that extra Therium boost early for some reason. Maybe you're trying to tech your Infernal Fury really quick, or maybe you're doing a Reaper's Rush kind of play, so you need to get up to tier 2 and get that Reaper's Rush out. Stuff like that. Oh, Senegalo, you forgot to keep the tower there. Yeah. Now is Senegalo going to be aggressive with this army? Once again, he's got even Stevens on the supply, but that means half his supply is on the other side of the map. And wow, Wallace has a really nice looking army there. And it's camped out in the speed camp. That means as soon as it moves out, it's got that active speed boost. And that's always a benefit. I like how Senegalo's splitting and pulling his gaunts back so that they're in the back intentionally up front. Again, I've mentioned that even though there's push priority for the brutes, if the gaunts are on the front line even for a second, they're so squishy, that means they could be going down, they could be getting weak. That means the curse from the other gaunts could turn them into phantoms. So pre-splitting is very important in Stormgate, and pre-positioning before the battle as much as it is during the battle. But so far, Senegalo trying to be timid and engage at the right time. Like actually behind in supply, but engaging in here. And look how these units at the top are curving around. That's exactly the concave you want. These brutes are, as the brutes of Senegalo start dying, we're just going to watch this whole front line cave in as we do right now. And that means that Wallace has got a really nice defense here. More reinforcements showing up. Even though Senegalo had a nice reinforcement line of gaunts show up, that's all that's left now is gaunts, and that's GG from Senegalo. Welcome back in. This is the final game, and this is Wallace. His opponent, Senegalo Ruskov. And the question we ask our opponents today is, which of you has the more furious resolve? Look at this bug. Oh, bug. Buggy, buggy, bug. Okay, I'll stop the bug. Which of you has the more furious of the resolves? Who has the fighting spirit? And who will go home champion in this semifinals match and move on to the finals, possibly winning a share of $70. If you want to donate to these winners who have already got into the prize money, jump on the Macarino and drop some bucks in there. Drop some bucks in there. Well, both of these folks have got their creeping force out. And they are both, well, we're cross-spawn again in these 4-player maps. Both times we've cross-spawned. And they are both going for a health camp first. Not knowing where the opponent is, but both of them are about to broadcast. Well, maybe not their full location. But both are going to capture their health camp, and poof, they both see, oh, you captured that camp, I see. I wonder which camp I should go for next. It looks like both are going for Vision Camp next. Curious. I would say it's curious, but it might also be furious. Well, that is a furious play. Quite angrily and furiously. Actually, no fury on the... no infernal furies yet. The infernal fury. Who will be the furriest? The furriest? Oh no. That's different. Who will be the furiest? No Hellforges down yet. So no one trying to get that infernal fury yet. Everyone's resolve is not very furious yet. And I think both these two are playing a little bit more cautious. I mean, we are cross-spawn on one of the biggest maps in the pool, so it doesn't hurt to macro up a bit, build some defenses, build a bigger army, do some creeping. And that's what we're seeing. In fact, both of them have just very much mirrored each other's like troop movements, if not everything else, as we're just seeing Senegalo put down this base while this base is already up for Wallace. And we have seen that a little bit in the earlier matches, that Wallace has been a little bit more aggressive on the eco in the first few minutes. And we'll see how that works out. Because I think there is a trade-off here. I mean, is this base is not fully saturated yet. We have 8 workers on Therium here. That's quite a lot. We do have a Hellforge out yet, and I'm not sure. Do we got Fury? No Fury. No one's furious yet. But yeah, there's a little trade-off there. Maybe you don't need to put that 3rd shrine down quite so quickly, but then also, if you do get your shrines down more quickly, they can pump out imps faster. Like, as soon as you get that shrine down, you've doubled or tripled your imp production over that original shrine. Using that inside part of the ring to capture. Certainly a good trick with fiends or scouts. Interesting positioning in the Luminite camp here. But moving for the Vision camp to recapture, but wait a second, I can't do that. Why not? There's a fiend over there. So you gotta micro your own fiends over. And, oh, here comes an army to chase those fiends away. It's a fun little cat and mouse here over the tower. And that Gaunt holding it. And now Wallace is like, fine, I'll bring my army in too. How about that? How about that? Finally capturing the tower. And deciding, well, I'm already here. Might as well go for the Skull Squisher. And in comes Senegalo to try and get on top of that, but at the same time, I was going to say out pops the V5, but no. No one's capturing the tower. And once again, concave is what seems to be important here. We see Senegalo with a little bit better concave. And is this going to be the tail here? Yes, it looks like it, as Wallace has to pull back. More brutes showing up for Wallace. But I think, yeah, he needs to pull back and regroup, and does so. And now the V5 is out for Senegalo. Wallace, couple brutes get on top of it, but nope, they get chased away. The V5 is out. The V5 is going forward. Gonna launch its pencil crayons. Now Senegalo doesn't seem to be supporting this. And Wallace, oh no, no. There we go. Lashed on it and gets it for free. Where are you headed to, Senegalo? Looking for some ninja bases, I guess. Looking for ninja bases. Sees the army approaching the vision camp, of course, through the vision it grants. And positioning. And again, look, pre-split. This is what I've been talking about. It's so important. Gets a better positioning, which means trying to set up that concave. But now again, we got concave on the top from Wallace, concave on the bottom from Senegalo. Senegalo does a little pullback to try and reposition, but that means there's not really concave for either side. But actually, here we go. The top line falls down for Wallace, and it's Senegalo coming out on top, chasing down, going to get this Weaver probably for free. And also ending up with about a 20 supply lead. Which always in a mirror match that can be important. Fourth base is already up for Senegalo. Fourth base going down for Wallace. But here we are in the third base here. Vault's going to go down. Nope, they're going to turn and fight. But the units of Wallace are fighting in the choke, so that the gaunts of Senegalo can get a lot of damage done. So this is actually working out really good for Senegalo, as long as he can keep fighting in that choke. And I think we see Senegalo pulling back when his own brute started dying in the choke, holding that line there. And more of his brutes show up, but there is a little bit of Wallace's units here tearing into the gaunts of the top side. We got a Magmadon showing up as well. And remember, a single Magmadon going, all Magmadons might not be the right answer against this brute meta, but a couple Magmadons, in fact, we got 3 Magmadons here, that Wallace is saying, okay, maybe that can turn the tides of these brute on brute battles, as I can start getting some splash damage. And remember, Magmadons are still pretty resilient. They are kind of tanky, although it's Senegalo answering with Weavers, and that could lash in those Magmadons quite easily and neutralize them. The supply differences have disappeared, and that might be slightly testament to Senegalo's macro. Like, we saw Wallace get out a little bit earlier in the macro, but he's slowing down in his continued expansion. We've got this base down, but not saturated yet. It says it's got 10 workers, but they're all rallying. And it looks like they both might be having the same idea, going for Therium Camp now. But again, Senegalo a little bit ahead on the macro, it looks like. Has also taken this double Therium, where Wallace has not. And that's going to make a difference. Senegalo has a little bit more of a bank, plus a large Therium bank, which could turn into a dragon at any second here. Boom. That looks like a dragon just got popped. And indeed we do. We got dragon on the map here for Senegalo. We have even supplies Well, these two have been sticking very even. Now that might actually mean a little army supply for Wallace. So because Wallace has fewer bases, he might have less imps on the map. And this could be a battle. We're gonna get a little clash here, but no, both of them turn back, not wanting to engage without proper preparation. Bunch of imps in tow here. What's that about? Oh, they're rallying. Okay. Like, are they gonna be flame imps? Every once in a while there's flame imps. Look at this. Look at this. But there's a battle in the middle of the map. We do have a V5 rocket for Senegalo as well as the dragon. Huge tramples coming out for the Magmadons that are actually getting massive damage on the brutes, and that have also forced the sort of broken the line for Senegalo. Senegalo's dragon still above, uncontested. Hellborn showing up for Wallace, which can do something to that dragon, but it looks like Senegalo's getting the advantage here as he's getting a concave on the north side, and Wallace's troops are forced to pull back here. Senegalo with the huge supply lead here. That dragon doing a ton of work. Look how many phantoms there are as a result. More Hellborn going down, more phantoms popping out, and Wallace is pulling back to this base here, but that means this base is probably going to go down. And Wallace has only one chance here, which is a flanking play, but I think he doesn't have the units, and that's going to be a GG, well played from Wallace in game number 5. And congratulations to Senegalo.